Hey guys, it's Deanna with Mindset Fitness and Yoga. Hope you guys have had a wonderful week. We're kicking off into June. It's starting to warm up outside. Some of you may be tired. Some of you may be thinking about your summer plans, some goals that you may have set. Some of you may still be coming up with some goals for the summer. So I just wanted to drop in and let you guys know I'm going to be doing a new segment called the Friday Five. Whatever the videos are going to be on, I'm going to have 5 items, maybe 5 suggestions, 5 principles, 5 key concepts, but it'll be a short video, something that'll be easier for you to watch, something that you can count on once a week, 5 minutes long. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and get into it. I want to talk about starting something new. Some of you may be new to mindset. Some of you may have been with us for a long time, and we're always trying to find new goals or up the ante on something we've already started. So I want to give you guys 5 pieces of advice for maintaining change and even adding to a routine you may have already established. So the first thing on my list is finding a routine. Some of us may be adding to a routine that we've already kind of nailed down. Some of us are starting from the bottom, and we may have trouble just establishing a routine. Myself, having been an artist, songwriter for several years, I have had the toughest time with this. I used to keep chaotic hours. I used to just kind of go where the workflow would take me and had zero routine. So if you are trying to make a lifestyle change, it's important to establish a routine in the first place. And then if you're adding something new to your routine, you may notice that your routine gets a little thrown off until everything kind of levels out and it becomes a habit. So that's the number one thing, is just if your routine gets thrown off, that's okay. Just stick to the routine and keep returning to it. It will eventually settle out. So item number 2, which is related to this idea, is to plan reasonably. So a lot of us will have like a 10-15 item to-do list, and we will maybe believe that we can do all those things in one day. I have found in planning my days that I can get maybe 4 major items completed. That sounds really small, right? But you'd be surprised, a lot of those items have items below it that just small micro tasks that are required for getting something done. So plan reasonably, forgive yourself, and shorten your to-do list and space it out through the week. The next one, which I have put in the 3rd place, I think for a specific reason, maybe selfishly, is to get good sleep. I do not function well if I don't get good sleep. Sometimes I don't function at all. And sometimes I just have to say, hey, today I am not worth much. I'm going to catch the next train tomorrow. So getting good sleep, it's so important for your brain. When you sleep, your brain catalogs everything you learned from the day before, and it kind of puts it in its nice and neat place, and it helps you to function better. That's the simplest way I can put it. It just helps you think more clearly, work more optimally. Number 4, which is probably on equal footing with number 3, is to eat healthy. A lot of times we will skip meals. We will maybe eat the quickest thing. We'll go out to eat or do fast food. You may be on a good routine, and then you go out and get fast food once, and that worked, and so you do it again tomorrow, then you do it the next day, and the next day. The next thing you know, your good habit eating routine has kind of spiraled out of control. That's okay. That will happen. Sometimes that happens. The goal is to let it happen less and less and keep returning to your routine accordingly. As soon as you recognize that it's out of rhythm, that you're not on top of things, you got to jump back on it, and you can't go back. There's no time machine, so that's kind of the relief. That's the good thing, is you don't have to worry about what you did last week. You can just return to what your plans are and what your expectations of yourself are today and just correct. The last item is so important. It maybe shouldn't be last, but I'm going to put it last because it's usually at the end of things. The most important thing to the beginning of your next day is having a cutoff time. If you work until 5 p.m. and you find yourself staying after until 6, 6:30, 7, don't. Unless it's an unusual situation and you think for some reason it's just going to be more beneficial if I stay. But even then, that's a slippery slope, because everything in your routine that's supposed to fall in a specific time frame just gets pushed back, because you didn't give yourself a cutoff time. For me, my big thing with cutoff times is bedtime. That plays into getting good sleep. If you don't get good sleep, your day tomorrow is not going to be great. You may not have a morning because you slept in. So make sure you give yourself cutoff times. Put a place marker, whatever you have been planning, whatever you've been working on. Don't be upset if you didn't get to tie a nice neat bow around your task. You can just give yourself a cutoff time, leave the book open, leave the tabs open, and return to it at a specific time the next day. That is all we can do. And Mindset's maxim that we love to repeat is start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. You'd be surprised what you can do with just what you already have established, what you're already working with, what tools you already have. The change happens intrinsically. Buying new furniture or buying new devices or tools to help us get things done is nice, and sometimes it's appropriate, but sometimes that's not what's called for. Sometimes you just gotta see what you've got in your boxes and in your closets and in your mind and in your own habits, and start from there. That brings me to my last point I'd like to make. I'd like to talk about failure. So if you're starting a new routine, maybe a new diet, new habit that you'd like to make permanent, you're inevitably going to run into failure. That's a big F word around here. However, I don't find that word to be as bad of a word as it feels, as bad of a word as we use it. Failure is like inevitable and constant for me. One thing I wanted to demonstrate with that word is what it could turn into. A small failure is really just a small deviation from the trajectory of your goals. What you want to stay away from is self-sabotage. So what that looks like is it starts as a failure, and then because you feel so bad that you're not perfect, that you didn't entirely turn yourself around with one decision, and then suddenly you were this new person who has this new set of habits, you go, well, I guess I just can't do that. I guess that's just not for me. I'm just not capable of doing this. And then you almost let yourself off the hook. You may not even consciously realize that you're doing that, but it's almost such a relief to just go, I guess that's not for me, and I give up, and I'm going to go back to everything that was working before, even if it wasn't working. We can just tell ourselves, I'll just go back to that. So stay away from that self-sabotage, and don't be afraid to keep running into failures and keep correcting and getting back to your goal. Get back on that track. Failures are learning, and success is cumulative. So keep that in mind going into the weekend. The week is a nice orderly set of 5 days in which we get work done, and then the weekend kind of throws us off, and then we have to kind of get back on track on Mondays. Success is cumulative, and success sets you up for even greater challenges. So after you fail over and over and over and you finally get something down, then you get to take on the next big challenge that's frustrating and that you keep running into more failures. But the good thing is, it's usually a new problem and something maybe you're more emotionally prepared to deal with because you've got a little more start again added to your habits, to your habitual mind. So I'll leave you guys with that. I want to thank y'all so much for watching if you've gotten to the end of this movie and video. And I'd like to invite you guys, if you have any questions or need any extra support. I know a lot of y'all have been with us for a long time. If you have any challenges personally with building or developing any new habits, reach out to your trainer. Reach out to Jenny, reach out to Travis, reach out to Nancy, reach out to me. We have experience and we've failed just like anybody that we're helping train, anybody that we're working with, and anybody in our life that we know. In general, I think that's why we're in this business, is to help people. So please reach out, let us know what you're working on, what you're going through, what you've learned, what has worked and what doesn't work. And also please feel free to leave that in the comments. Thanks so much. You guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.